Hello everyone, I'm Dan Philgreen.
And I'm Rochelle Chernowski. This is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, October 14th. On today's show, Dr. George Markovich will be here to talk about his Health Connection class, joint replacement, including custom total knees.
The LifeQuest Aquatic Center is the place to be on Mondays and Wednesdays for Aqua Agility and Conditioning with Craig Norling. We'll talk to him about this fun and exciting class.
And grief. It's something we've all experienced in our lives, but learning how to cope with it can be difficult. We'll introduce you to a group here at Shell Point that can help make the healing a bit easier. But first, the Village Church is refreshed and renewed and open tonight for a community celebration of the arts. Kaleidoscope Celebration of the Arts will feature wonderful presentations by Shell Point residents, staff, and some special guests. Don't miss this exciting night starting at 7:15 this evening in the Village Church on the island. Tickets are free, but they are also required.
Hi, Randy Woods. Just to remind you not to forget to get your tickets and be part of Kaleidoscope, the celebration of the arts, tonight at the Village Church. Tonight at 7:15, we'll enjoy the music of Southwest Florida concertmaster Reiko, pianist Noah Waddell, this teenage prodigy, as well as Stephen Britton, a guest organist who will be performing at the console as he accompanies the silent film Two Tars. It's a great evening. Tickets are available at the Resident Activity Center or the service desk in the Woodlands. Be sure to get your tickets and be out tonight, as this is the first concert for the season at Shell Point, Kaleidoscope, at 7:15 tonight.
Tomorrow, join in on the fun at the Island Park for the alpaca experience. These South American animals are known for their prized wool, considered to be the softest in the world. Several of them will be here at Shell Point, giving you the chance to get up close and take a look at these beautiful creatures. You'll even have the chance to purchase alpaca wool items. The Alpaca Experience gets underway tomorrow at 2:15 at the Island Park.
Join fitness coordinator Michelle Smith and many of your friends and neighbors tomorrow morning for Pilates Stretch, a great way to relieve stress to both your mind and your body. Pilates Stretch begins at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in the Shell Point Health Club on the island. Coming up next Tuesday in the Social Center, renowned surgeon Dr. George Markovich from the Institute for Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine will be speaking about joint replacement surgery, including custom knees.
He recently sat down with Mary Franklin to discuss some of the advances in this surgical procedure and how they can benefit you.
I'm Mary Franklin here. It is my pleasure to be with Dr. George Markovich from the Institute for Orthopedic Surgery and Sports Medicine. He will be coming out on Tuesday, October 21st at 2 p.m. to do a Health Connections presentation, joint replacement, including custom total knees. Dr. Markovich, thanks for being out here today.
My pleasure, Mary.
Now, you're no stranger to Shell Point. You've seen many of our residents before, and you've actually been out to TV before, but it's been a while. So please let our residents know all about you. It's your turn to brag.
Well, I don't like to brag, but I have been fortunate enough to be here before, and I've had many patients over the years. I've been in town since 1998, a little bit longer than you have, actually, and I enjoy the area. I grew up in Florida, grew up in Miami.
You're a cracker.
Indeed. And before coming out to Fort Myers, I was in the Navy. I was in Portsmouth, Virginia as Chief of Joint Replacement and Reconstruction. And I took care of the SEALs and did some fun things in the Navy for several years. And before that, I did training in orthopedics and some fellowships in joint replacements, and some time in Boston getting an engineering degree. So I've been around and finally settled here for the past 15 years or so, where I've been fortunate enough to treat many patients and do my best to get them the happiest result that they can.
All right. Well, I have to say, when I saw the title and it said Custom Total Knees, I thought, how custom could it be? I figured you went A, B, C, D, and you picked the one that fit the most. But this is really custom knee replacement.
I think it's a game changer. I have seen knees develop over many years. I started being familiar with knee replacements in the mid to late 80s and saw a lot of the evolution, a lot of the development. I'm a student of history, and I've seen some things work very well and seen some rudimentary designs where they only had a couple of sizes and they did their best to sort of make it fit, and a lot of them didn't do very well. There's been a lot of advances in instrumentation. There's been a lot of advances in implant design. There's been a lot of advances in surgical technique. There's a lot of advances in terms of understanding patient's anatomy and things like that. But it's always been a series of compromises. It's always been a certain amount of sizes of a particular brand. And you try your best to sort of make it all work. And fortunately, we've been very successful at that. But there's still far too many patients that still weren't quite as happy as maybe they should have been. And the surgeons aren't either, because, you know, an unhappy patient doesn't ever make a surgeon happy.
We're glad surgeons are perfectionists.
This one especially so, ask my wife. But lately, over the past few years, there have been some new approaches. And the approach that I'm excited about, that I'm going to talk about, is having a lot of the anatomy, a lot of the understanding done before the operating room. So we get a CT scan, very detailed, and we can see exactly the dimensions of the bone, exactly the type of deformity, exactly what some of the mechanical parameters are of that patient's anatomy, and actually assemble a custom device with a 3D printer that is perfectly suited to that patient's pathology.
And you were saying earlier when we were chatting that the new knee actually comes in a box for that person.
It does.
And it's specific. It really is custom.
It fits incredibly accurately to that patient's anatomy, and it's a lot easier for me to balance the ligaments and physiologically tension things because everything is aligned like it should be.
Well, we are glad you're going to be here to answer all those questions, because I'm sure there's possibly one or two residents that might have a surgery on the horizon. I bet it's more than that. But so thank you for coming out today.
My pleasure.
And if you would like to sign up to hear Dr. Markovich talk more in depth about this wonderful procedure, you want to sign up at either service desk. And the event will take place on Tuesday, October 21st at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I'm Mary Franklin, along with Dr. Markovich. Make it a happy and healthy day.
Thank you, Dr. Markovich and Mary. And just a quick note, that Health Connections class with Dr. Markovich was originally scheduled for the Oak Room, but it has been moved to the Social Center on the island. It will still take place at the same time next Tuesday, October 21st at 2 o'clock.
Well, after joint replacement, rehab is a must. A great way to get back into shape is to get into the pool.
Fitness coordinator Craig Norling is here to tell us about a class that combines cardio, strength, abdominal, and aerobic training, all done in the water. We're talking about aqua agility and conditioning.
I'm Mary Franklin with the Health Connection, here today with our fitness coordinator Craig Norling, and we're here to promote an upcoming brand new class here at the new LifeQuest Aquatic Center. Craig, you're going to be teaching an interesting class. Yes. It's going to be aqua agility and conditioning. You're going to offer it 3 sessions, right?
A, B, and C.
All right. And for dates and times, you want to check your Health Connection booklet, because we're offering this in 3 different series. Session A at this moment is full.
Correct.
Right? So you want to sign up for B or C. And an interesting thing about this class, it's a small class.
True.
Why are you only letting 6 people in at a time?
So I can focus on just those 6 people, so we can work on what this class is designed for as far as agility and conditioning. And so we're going to take time for those 6 people to work on that, as long as their flexibility and the range of motion.
Right. So it's like a group personal training. Instead of one-on-one, it's a little bit more people, which will be fun.
Yeah.
Now, when they come every session, you're doing a group of 12 sessions. Is every time going to be exactly the same?
Oh no.
No.
It'll be different every time.
Okay.
We'll do some of the same stuff every time, but every time will be different.
Okay. You want to really work on their specialized needs and get them going. What parts of the pool will you be using?
I get really all of them.
Okay.
All of them. We might do a little deep water. We might use some of the therapy pool. We might even use the lap lane right here.
Okay. Now in Melanie Broad's class for agility, she does a lot of footwork. How are you going to translate that into the pool?
Well, we're going to do a lot of full body work.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to use their entire body and moving them for a lot of time.
Okay. All right. So it's really that real focus group, a lot of attention by Craig, and you want that from him so he can push you to your limit, but not too far. He's just going to make you just get to that uncomfortable zone, right?
Just enough, yeah.
Right, and make you push it. And so this will be a great class if you want to get into the water and push it a little bit more than what you traditionally have. Craig will be your guy to do that. I'm Mary Franklin along with Craig. Make it a happy and healthy day.
Aqua Agility and Conditioning takes place on Mondays and Wednesdays from 3:30 until 4:15 at the Life Quest Aquatic Center on the island. Each class is $5 and you can use the new Shell Point gift card to pay for it.
Now to a topic that we've all seen up close, grief. Dealing with it can sometimes be overwhelming.
The Healing Journey Grief Support Group here at Shell Point examines the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual effects of grief and how to get through it. Here to talk more about what the grief group offers are Dotty Morrison of Solana and Mary Franklin.
I'm Mary Franklin here today with resident Dotty Morrison to talk about the Healing Journey Grief Support Group. This is a wonderful group offered to all residents here at Shell Point. Dotty, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you started this group about 6 years ago, right? I remember you coming and saying that you had done a similar group in your hometown in Texas, right? And you wanted to bring it here to Shell Point. Tell us a little bit about Healing Journey and how you've developed it to where it is today.
After my husband died 9 years ago, I was living in Texas, and there were two friends who were also widows that I became friends with.
Okay.
After a while, we realized that our church there had no support group, and even though we could support each other, there were other people who needed support. So being retired teachers, all of us, we kind of took our teaching strategies and borrowed things from different programs and videotapes and so on that had helped us. We added our own experience and we developed Healing Journey.
What a wonderful testament. And I think I'm putting words into your mouth, but I bet by helping others, it in turn has helped you throughout the years.
You know, the process of grief really continues long after the initial phase of shock has worn off. And the lessons themselves helped all three of us move forward in our journey. And as I've helped other people, it has helped me move forward in my journey.
Okay. Now you and Judy Mayer, who also lives here at Shell Point, have teamed up. She has a wonderful background that really adds to the group as well.
Yes, I don't have a professional background in counseling. What I have sort of comes from my own experiences and a lot of workshops I've attended and reading. But Judy was, for many years, a family counselor. And so the two of us worked together to try to support people who are going through the parts of grief that are so difficult.
That is great. One of the things I think that it's important for everyone to understand that when you think of grief and needing support, you often think it's because you have lost a spouse or someone very close to you. But grief can also affect you if you've lost a close friend.
Of course.
Yes.
Here at Shell Point, where we live close to neighbors, and a lot of times people will get in the habit of doing things every day or calling someone every day that's a friend.
Right.
If that friend is gone, there's a hole just as big as if it had been a spouse.
Right.
We also have people here who unfortunately lose children.
Correct.
And the children aren't here, but the loss is so deep. Those people come to Healing Journey. We have people that come, any deep loss, maybe even a sibling can be as close as a spouse.
Right.
So we are open to have people come no matter what their loss is, and we want to support them in that.
Okay. One of the things that I also enjoy is that you teach them it's okay to hurt.
Part of what we look at is, how were you taught growing up to handle losses? For many people, they were taught to stiff upper lip, don't cry, go on,
Be stoic.
Some people were taught, if you have faith, you shouldn't feel bad. And so we examine all those things that might have an impact on someone. In addition to that, there is a lot of information that I have learned and that Judy has learned over time that helps you understand what you're going through. Every person's grief journey is different, and every personality, every person's background, all that has an impact on how you experience grief. There are ways in which, if you examine the information that's out there and you have information about it, then when something happens, it's not such a big surprise.
Right.
So part of what we do for people, especially those in the early stages of grief, is prepare them. These things might happen to you. You might have these feelings that seem awfully strange,
Right.
but they're part of the normal progress.
Now, your group is unique to the support groups here at Shell Point because you have a beginning and you have an end. It's a 7-part program, correct?
Right. Yes.
And you don't just focus on the grief. You hit a lot of the dimensions of wellness too, correct? Because it all starts coming together and you just can't focus on one part. You really focus on the mind, body, and spirit.
We do. The first lesson, I give them a list of about 30 things you can do for fun here at Shell Point, and their homework is to go home and do something fun.
Right.
Our physical bodies are affected by grief. Our social interactions are affected by grief. All of the parts of our body and being are affected by grief, and as long as you understand they're connected, then you can work on them together. And our challenge is to, as we examine the process of grief, to grow. That's why we use the term journey. This is a journey. Now, we have 7 lessons. That doesn't mean people walk out of my class and never have grief experiences again, or that their journey's done, but they're prepared for the journey. They know what's coming.
Right. And is there a timeline? And have you had to have lost a loved one in a certain amount of time to sign up for your group, or could it be someone you lost, some time ago, but you're still, you find it affecting your everyday life?
There are some people who had a loss a long time ago, and it was never grieved. And then something happens. For example, maybe someone lost a child years ago. They were so busy with other children, with their duties, that they never grieved that. And then they had maybe a dog, and then the dog died, and all of a sudden they're grieving, and they have no idea why that grief is so deep. It may be that there are grief experiences from the past that are coming back to the front. So no, there's no time limit. And we also talk one-on-one to people, and if someone isn't sure if this is good for them, they should come.
Right.
I want to say a word to the men particularly.
Right.
We had a man come a couple years ago, and he said, this is really something that my wife would have done, come to a support group, but I'll come and try it, Every week that he came, he said the same thing. This really isn't my thing. He came all 7 weeks. So what we look at is some people know about the people who cry a lot and who all they can think about is the pain, the emotional pain. Those are the intuitive grievers. Then there are other people. This is more like what I was like. Instrumental grievers, people who want to take action, people want to fix it, people have the why questions. Those can often be men.
Right.
And sometimes those men don't realize that those things are also part of the grief experience. We validate that in our classes, and we help them grow in that experience.
Dotty, we are blessed to have you here. You and Judy Mayer are giving so much of yourselves to help residents here at Shell Point, and we thank you for that. And you can find out more information on the Healing Journey Grief Support by turning to your Shell Point Life and look at the support group page. There it is listed, and it will talk about time, date, and place, and when a next session is going to be starting. And also, Dotty and Judy's phone numbers are always in there. If you just want to give them a call to have one-on-one information, you can do that as well. I'm Mary Franklin here today with Dotty Morrison. Have a wonderful day.
The Healing Journey Grief Support Group's first meeting will take place on Wednesday, October 29th at 2:45. And just a quick note, it will take place in the chapel at the Village Church on the island and not in the Manatee Room. If you need more information, please call the Village Church at 454-2147.
Now it's time to cover all of today's happenings, Academy news, menus, and Village Church connections.
Hi, I'm Jill Aldrink, and I'm here with Bev Chandley with our activities for Tuesday, October 14th. We start our morning at 7:15 with Health Connections, Bend, Breathe, and Balance in the Health Club. At 7:30, we have a Health Connections trip. That's Ada's Natural Market. It's a healthy living tour. Island pickup begins at 7:30, Woodlands at 7:40, and Eagles Preserve will be at 7:50. At 8 o'clock, head on out to the pickleball court for a rousing game of pickleball. Also at 8 o'clock, round robin doubles tennis can be played at the tennis courts in the Woodland. At 8:15, you can head on down to the Stamp Ministry. Volunteers are welcome. That's in the stamp room in the tunnel on the island. At 8:30, bocce ball. You can play bocce ball at the bocce courts in the Woodlands. And the Ladies Golf Association will be meeting at the golf course at 8:30. 9:15, open painting in the art studio. Another 9:15 option is shuffleboard. Head on out to the shuffleboard courts for a game. At 9:30, match play mixed doubles tennis is played at the tennis courts. And Through the Bible study group meets in the Osprey Room at 10:15. Also at 10:15, the Vision Enrichment Group will be meeting in the Social Center on the island. And our final morning activity is a Health Connections Living Healthy. They meet in the Osprey Room at 11:45. Bev, what's happening this afternoon?
We're going to start out the afternoon at 12:30 with Mixed Progressive Bridge. That'll be played in the game room of the Woodlands. At 1:15, we have the Knitters Group in the Osprey Room. We also have the Rollicking Recorderist in the Tarpon Room at 1:15. And our last 1:15 activity is the Women's Ministries Prayer Group at 408 Royal Bonnet. 1:30 is the time for the Health Connections class, Aqua Pilates Stretch. That's in the LifeQuest Aquatic Center. 1:30, the Stamp Ministry will be in the Sable Room of the Woodlands. And we have another Health Connections class at 2:45. This is Balance and Mobility Training Level 2. That's in the Health Club, and that's currently full. We're going to jump to the evening at 7:15 where we have Kaleidoscope, a celebration of the arts at the Village Church. You do need a ticket to go to that event. Well, we're happy you joined us here today, and we will see you right back here tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Terry Colath with your Academy information for Tuesday. At 9:30, live figure drawing continues in the Sable Room at the Woodlands. And at 10 o'clock, how Columbus almost did not discover America in the Grand Cypress Room of the Woodlands. You can sign up right at the door. At 10:15, iPad. Got one? Now what? Will take place in the Manatee Room on the island for those who signed up. And at 1:30, an iPad class. Apps, apps, apps. This continues in the Oak Room of the Woodlands. We have a new class tomorrow from the Computer College. So you've got Windows 8, now what are you going to do with it? Our instructor is Floyd Jamison of Parkwood.
Menus for Tuesday. In the Crystal Room, the Crystal Platter is marinated pork tenderloin with cranberry rice and green beans. The dinner special is build your own stir fry for $13.95, and the soup of the day is tortellini and sausage. In the Island Cafe for lunch, the special is a pulled pork sandwich with chips for $7.25. The dinner special is your choice of a hot dog or a burger with a side salad, watermelon, and ice cream for $8.25. Dinner specials in the Palm Grill are barbecue shrimp for $13.95 or ribeye for $19.95. All menus are available 24 hours a day at www.shellpoint.net.
Greetings and welcome to Village Church Connections. I'm here with Janice Quinlan, our international worker in residence. And Janice, we are here because we are very excited about an event that will be happening later this month. It's part of what has typically been a fall focus for us as we focus on an area of missions that's unique in some part of the world. And this year we are privileged to have several guests coming that I know you have some firsthand experience with. Carl and Laura Ralston and New. And they're part of the organization that they began, Remember New. And we're going to hear a lot about that story. But tell us just in a snapshot a little bit about Remember New, what that organization is all about, and how you've been exposed to their work in Thailand.
Carl came to Thailand about 10 years ago to an event called Getting It Done Asia and had been highly involved in men's ministries. And during that conference, he heard a number of missionaries, but one really spoke very deeply to Carl. some missionaries from Cambodia who came over to participate in the conference and shared with him about young people, children from their Sunday school, who were being sold into the sex trade. And Carl decided that he would do everything he could, even if it meant selling his home and his business, to prevent children from being sold in the sex trade, and moved to Thailand, him and Lori, and have spent a number of years starting a ministry in Thailand that is really now worldwide. And it's more of a prevention ministry. They have children as young as 2 or 3 years old that are at risk of abandonment or going to be sold into the sex trade, and have helped hundreds of children. So I know them personally because we lived in the same country together, and it's a partnership ministry between Remember New and with the Christian Missionary Alliance.
The dates that they will be here is October 19 through 22. Yes. And we have a number of events scheduled during those days, beginning with our Sunday services, Sunday morning and Sunday night, where he will be sharing some of the story that inspired them to get involved in this kind of ministry. And they'll give us a picture of what's going on around the world now. There'll be an academy class on Monday at 1 o'clock in the Grand Cypress Room, and the topic is going to be prevention, intervention, and he'll talk about the 2 different approaches to this ministry. And then Tuesday night, 7:15 at the Village Church, he'll do another session that's entitled Justice versus Mercy. You know, those are 2 concepts that we see throughout Scripture, and balancing those is critical, and I think he has some unique perspective about that. And then Wednesday morning, as part of our women's ministry, Carl and Laura and New will be sharing her testimony, her story. Some of that will be by way of video, and then New will also be sharing a little bit. It's going to be followed by a lunch. And the lunch is going to be Southeast Asia flavor kinds of things that will be fun, I believe.
That will be fun.
Ticket is required for those events on Wednesday, but the ticket is complimentary. So we encourage folks to call the church office to get their ticket, reserve their space now, because I know they don't want to miss this.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for sharing with us today, Janice, your firsthand knowledge of this ministry, and Carl and Laura. And we certainly invite you to put these dates on your calendar, October 19th through the 22nd, and connect it every possible way that you can during this time. Have a wonderful day.
We're glad you joined us for today's show.
Tune in tomorrow as we discuss Medicare open enrollment options available to you here at Shell Point. Anna Smith from Feinmark Bank will be along to let you know how to avoid being financially exploited. And Caitlin Caro talks about the Hearing Enrichment Support Group, another of the many groups here at Shell Point that can help you get emotionally recharged.
Until then, this is Shell Point Today for Tuesday, October 14th. I'm Rochelle Chernowski.
And I'm Dan Filgree. And from all of us here at Shell Point TV, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.